Okay, in this video, we are gonna examine Perek Gimel, Psukim Yud Aleph and Yud Bet, dialogue between Moshe and Hashem. I apologize for any background noise. In this video, I'm also watching my kids. We have a special cameo here by my daughter Tamar. Smile, Tamar. Say hi. You met her at the Shabbaton. She's a little bit shy, I guess. So in Pasuk Yud Aleph, Moshe says to God, Mi anochi ki elech el paro, v'chi yotziet b'nei Yisrael mi Mitzrayim. Who am I to go before Paro and to take Bnei Israel out of Egypt? Now, you can say that also. And Hashem says back, Ki eya imach, that I'll be with you. V'zelecha od ki anochi shlachticha. This is the sign that I sent you. V'otziacha tam mi Mitzrayim, tavduna da Elokim ala har hazeh. When you take everyone out of Egypt, you're going to serve Hashem on this mountain. So the question is Moshe just asking one question or two, and is Hashem therefore giving one answer or two? Obviously, those questions are intertwined. So over here, I color-coded this in accordance with the first view that appears in Rashi, which says, Moshe asked two questions. One, Mi anochi ki elech el paro, which in plain English we're going to say is, am I worthy? Okay, so that's the first question according to Rashi. Who am I? Am I worthy to go before Paro? And second of all, am I worthy of taking Bnei Israel out of Egypt? So first, we're going to look on the Bar Ilan HaKeter Mikrot Gedolot, which is an excellent edition. And in this case, they prefer the text of Rashi, which represents the first interpretation in your Chumashim. And especially in my honors class, we spoke about how this actually is the view that Rashi had earlier in his life. But Rashi says Moshe had two questions. Ma anochi chashuv l'daber hamilachim? Who am I to speak before the kings? And second of all, what? I'm going to take them out of Egypt. Af im chashuv ani, even if I am worthy to speak before kings. Ma zachu Yisrael sheyasa lehem nes shotziim mitzrayim. In what way is Israel worthy? What did they do to merit redemption? So according to Rashi, the two questions are: A, am I worthy? And B, are Bnei Israel worthy of redemption? And how does God answer each of these? So he answers, blue with blue in this image. As to the question of whether Moshe is worthy, God says, well, I'll be with you. And this is the sign that I sent you. So what does he mean by that? I will be with you. Hashivo al Rishon Rishon v'achron achron. He answered Moshe at first on the first question and last on the last question. That which you said, Mi anochi ki elech el paro. Am I worthy? Lo shalchahi ki mishali. For that, God says, who cares if you're worthy? It's not about you, it's about me. Mishali. Ki eya imach. I, Hashem, will be with you. That's worthy enough, right? If Hashem backs you, it doesn't matter if you're personally worthy. And within the same question, God says, this is the sign that I sent you. This refers to the bush. Hamareh asher ita b'sneh. This, which you saw in the sneh, is the sign that I sent you. Just like the sneh was doing what I told it to, it was burning, ve'enenu ukal, it wasn't consumed, that's a sign that symbolizes the fact that kach taseh shlichuti v'encha nizok. So too much that you do what I tell you, and you won't be damaged. And what about Moshe's second question? The purple question here, is Bnei Israel worthy to get out? So God answered that by saying when you take them out, they will serve God on this mountain, on Har Chorev, Har Sinai. So you asked what zechut, what merit do they have to be worthy of leaving Egypt? I have something great regarding this taking of them out. They're eventually going to receive the Torah on this mountain, and that's what makes them worthy. So again, this Rashi, which is the primary Rashi in the Bar Ilan HaKeter Mikrot Gedolot edition, it's the first interpretation of Rashi in your Chumash, emphasizes that Moshe asked two questions, one about his own worth and one about Bnei Israel's worthiness, and God gave him two answers. One, that God will be with him, and the burning bush symbolizes that, and therefore that takes care of the question of whether Moshe is worthy. And number two, when you leave Egypt, you're going to take Bnei Israel to this mountain to get the Torah. That addresses the question of whether Bnei Israel is worthy. Before we go on to the rest of Rashi, we're going to take a sneak peek ahead to Rashbam over here. Rashbam is Rashi's grandson, and Rashbam was very troubled by the way his predecessors interpreted these psukim, because he says over here, whoever wants to know the basic pshat of these psukim has to read my commentary. My predecessors did not understand it at all. It sounds like a very harsh thing to say about Rashi. As we'll see later, I don't think this is actually meant to be an insult against Rashi. What went on here? Moshe Hashiv al Shnei Dvarim Shemar LaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Rashbam, Moshe responded to two things. So Rashbam is continuing to buy into this idea of two questions. A, am I worthy to go before Paro? And B, the purple question, this is where Rashbam has a different interpretation. He says Moshe asked about his own worthiness. Am I worthy to go to Paro at all? If you am I even worthy to go in front of a king to bring him a gift? Am I worthy to enter the king's courtyard, the king's palace? And second of all, I'm going to take Bnei Israel out. What did he mean by that, says Rashbam? What's question 2? Even if I'm worthy to go in before Paro, I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm doing. Why? What thing that would be accepted by Paro am I supposed to say to him? Is Paro crazy? Is he a shota, an insane person? He's going to send away all these people, Shehem Avadav, who are his slaves. He's going to send them away chofshi, free. Right? It just doesn't make any sense. What can I say to him that he would accept? So according to Rashbam, like Rashi's first interpretation, there are two questions. Like Rashi's first interpretation, question number 1 is, who am I to go before Paro? Am I worthy? But question number 2 is different. Says Rashbam, question number 2 is not whether Bnei Israel are worthy. After all, Moshe didn't say, V'chi yetzu Bnei Israel. He said, V'chi otzi et Bnei Israel. Am I going to take Bnei Israel out? So says Rashbam, he's asking a pragmatic, practical question. How am I going to take Bnei Israel out? What can I say that would convince a king to free his own slaves? So says Rashbam, how did God answer these questions? As to the question of Moshe's worthiness, God says, well, I'll be with you. And there's a sign for that. What's the sign? The burning bush. So all that Rashbam took from Rashi. So again, even though he implied that Rashi, his predecessors, totally misunderstood the psukim, the part 1, he actually endorses what Rashi said. Right? Ki ayeh imach, I'll be with you. So says Rashbam, God said, look, I'll be with you. I'll have the king like you. So don't worry about you not being worthy. I got that covered. And the fact that you fear Paro, here's the sign. You see from the burning of the bush that you're Hashem's messenger. It's a slight difference in nuance from Rashi because, Rashi had emphasized the idea that the specific feature of the bush is burning but not consumed, symbolizes how you're going to follow me but you won't be damaged or harmed. Whereas Rashbam just says more broadly, the fact that there's this miracle, this miracle of the bush, is a sign for you that I'm the one who sent you. Again, overall, Rashbam interprets the first question and the first answer, all the blue stuff here, basically the same way as that first interpretation in Rashi. But the second question, which Rashbam made into a practical question, am I going to take Bnei Israel out of Egypt? How should I do that and get Paro to listen to me? So this is now a practical answer. What you're going to say to Paro is that I want to take them out to serve Hashem on this mountain. Says Rashbam, that's a practical piece of advice for Moshe. What you're going to say to him, what claim can you say for Paro? You're going to say, Tana zo tu chalomar. You can say this claim, Paro may let them go in order to offer sacrifices before God, which in fact is going to come up shortly. In Pasuk Yud Chet, just a couple of psukim after where we are now in Yud Bet, God's going to tell Moshe, say to them, say to Paro, I'm not asking you to free the slaves. All I'm asking you to do is let us go 3 days into the wilderness. We'll look ahead and get a sneak preview here in Pasuk Yud Chet. Lo and behold, what does Hashem tell Moshe to say? Go before Paro and say to Paro, Hashem Elokei Ha'ivrim Nikra Aleinu, Hashem the God of the Hebrews happened upon us. Now let us go 3 days into the wilderness and let us sacrifice to Hashem our God. So the claim that God tells Moshe to tell Paro is not we want to be freed, but simply to tell Paro we want to go 3 days into the wilderness to serve our God. And we all know that 3-day journey is to Har Sinai. And so over here when God tells Moshe, when you take them out of Egypt, y'all will serve God on this mountain, that's essentially God telling Moshe, tell Paro that you want to come to this mountain and serve me. So Rashbam and Rashi then both agree that Moshe asked a practical question, a question about his worthiness, and a second question, and God told him, you don't worry about your worthiness, I'll support you, and the sneh, the burning bush, the miracle of the burning bush symbolizes my support for you. And then they both agree that Moshe asked the second question. According to Rashi, the question was, are Bnei Israel worthy? According to Rashbam, the question was, are there any claims I can say practically that will convince Paro? And so according to Rashi, God said Bnei Israel are worthy because they're going to serve me on this mountain. Whereas according to according to Rashbam, God said, this is what you can tell Paro. Tell Paro we want to leave Egypt in order to serve God on this mountain, which is what Moshe will be later instructed to tell Paro. We want to leave for 3 days. If you're in my regular class, you can stop here. That's all we discussed, at first Rashi and Rashbam. In the honors class, we noted that Rashbam makes things that Rashi makes things a little more complicated with a second interpretation. You see the second interpretation in the Bar Ilan HaKeter edition in small font, and we see it as well in the text of Al HaTorah, where it presents this as Rashi's primary interpretation of Pasuk Yud Bet. And given how complex it is, we're going to discuss the second interpretation of Rashi and the way that Rashbam attacks it in a separate video. I will just say here, for the benefit of my regular students, although you don't have to watch the second video where we go in depth, just be aware the fact that it seems like Rashi later in his life revised his interpretation of this pasuk, that may be part of what triggered Rashbam to say what he says. In other words, when Rashbam comes along and says over here that my predecessors didn't understand this pasuk, part of what's driving him is that there's this whole other Rashi, it appears in your Chumash as a Davar Acher, where Rashi seems to interpret the pasuk in a totally different way, in which God is not promising that the sneh is a sign, rather God is saying the fact that you leave Egypt is a sign that you're going to eventually get to Har Sinai. And as well, the fact that Yosef Kara, not to be confused with Yosef Karo, Yosef Kara was a student of Rashi. The fact that Yosef Kara interprets the Psukim in yet a third way, which is somewhat like Rashi's second interpretation, all of this confusion where Rashi changes his mind and Yosef Kara gives a different nuance, all of that may have led to the fact that Rashbam, who was a teenager at the time that Yosef Kara and Rashi would have debated this, Rashbam is like, look, I was a teenager, I observed them going back and forth about what the pasuk means, and I'm not trying to insult anyone, but I'm just telling you, after observing the whole back and forth between my grandfather and Rabbi Yosef Kara, I'm telling you, just as a matter of fact, that my predecessors simply did not understand this pasuk. They weren't sure what it meant, and that's why Rashi wrote one thing, then something else, and in particular, as we mentioned, Rashi's original interpretation is not that different than Rashbam's. They both agree about the first question, and they both agree there is a second question. They just differ about its meaning. So Rashbam may have seen Yosef Kara pull Rashi away from that interpretation, and that may have bothered him a lot. He may have said, I don't understand. My grandfather originally was very close to interpreting this pasuk correctly according to its pshat. And then along comes Yosef Kara. He and Rashi learn this through again, and they move further and further away from the simple reading, and therefore, says Rashbam, you have to now look in my commentary, because the original interpretation that Rashi had of the two questions was sort of scratched from the record by a later interpretation that Yosef Kara convinced Rashi to interpret. And therefore, if you want to get the simple pshat, now your only option is to look in my commentary. And so again, it's not that he's trying to insult Rashi, it's simply that he's saying, as a practical matter, that his predecessors moved further and further away from the simple meaning. They themselves were not sure what the pasuk meant, so he's going to set the record straight. I'm going to say bye. And with that, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed all the background noise from my children and the cameo appearance by my daughter, Tamar. Chanukah Sameach. Come say bye, Tamar.
Hi.
Look in the picture. Say bye. I like to meet you at the Shabbaton.
Hi.
Tamar, who's your favorite person to play with at the Shabbaton? Tamar wants to thank Gabby and Rachel and Debbie for